from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
Perfect day for a dip, right? These folks sure thought so. Participants in this yearly ice dive on Lake Minnetonka shrugged off the cold this morning to raise money for wounded veterans. The Alaric Ice Dive is an annual event that started in 1990. Organizers say at the time, the temp hovered around -12. And for the dive to count, you had to dive under the floaties and swim the 36 feet to the other end of the hole. Here in the Red River Valley, more bitter cold temps today. So why does it seem like it was a little better outside? And speaking of better weather, Hutch, we're getting greedy here. We need more relief.
Well, we're going to have a little bit, but it's going to only be measured over the next few days. In fact, temperatures tonight, not as cold as we've been. Let's take a look outdoors. We do have a wind chill advisory as opposed to a warning for the overnight hours for our entire viewing area. We have air temperatures between 5 below and 15 below at this hour. Factor in the winds. It's still brutal out there. Gwinner, 34 below on exposed skin. Thief River Falls, 33 below. Temperatures hovering fairly steady as the wind increases overnight. So even though our temperatures aren't going to be in that 30 below category, the fact that the wind picks up to 20 miles per hour or more from the southwest overnight will mean some brutal wind chills as students return to school. Tomorrow morning, it's going to be a cold one at the bus stop. But I'll have details on some brighter weather here in just a few moments.
All right. Thank you, Hutch. And make sure you have the Valley News Live Storm Team weather app so that you can keep up with the weather anytime, anywhere. You'll get the latest forecasts and conditions so that you can plan your day. All you have to do is search VNL Weather in the App Store and download it for free. Not everyone got the message about finding a sober ride home after New Year's Eve parties. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety says there were more than 100 drunk driving arrests Sunday night into Monday. Specifically, the department says that between 6 p.m. Sunday and 8 a.m. Monday, there were 117 arrests statewide for DWI. Those in the Traffic Safety Department say regardless of whether it's a holiday or not, it's always recommended to have a plan for a sober ride if you're drinking. The legal alcohol limit for driving in Minnesota is .08. A 15-year-old boy is facing a DUI charge after crashing into 2 police cars and a parked car. It happened this morning in Devil's Lake around 5:30. Luckily, no one was hurt. However, the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office says the teen from Fort Totten, North Dakota, tried to back a pickup onto the street when it hit 2 parked Devil's Lake squad cars. He then tried to drive forward and the car spun out. He then tried to reverse but hit another vehicle in the driveway, pushing it into a fence. The Sheriff's Office says all damages were minor. A man who was injured in a 3-vehicle crash last month died of his injuries. The Highway Patrol says 61-year-old Tony Gutierrez from Sisseton, South Dakota, was a passenger in an SUV that hit a car on South Dakota Highway 10 near Aberdeen while trying to turn into a parking lot the afternoon of December 11th. The SUV rolled and slid into another vehicle that was leaving the parking lot. Gutierrez was taken to a Sioux Falls hospital. Authorities say he died of his injuries nearly 2 weeks later. No one else was seriously hurt in that crash. A man from Breckenridge, Minnesota is facing drunk driving charges after a rollover crash on New Year's Day. The Richland County Sheriff's Office says 48-year-old Mark Virgil was on 183rd Avenue Southeast in Fairmount, North Dakota, when he lost control of his pickup. It happened just after 3 this morning when he slid into a ditch and rolled. He was treated for injuries at the hospital and was later arrested for DUI. Authorities say 5 people were treated for possible carbon monoxide poisoning at a nursing home in northern Minnesota. The Eveleth Fire Department says a staff member reported carbon monoxide at the Fitzgerald Nursing Home and Rehab on Sunday morning. The fire chief says it was likely due to the smell of exhaust in the building. 2 residents and 3 staffers were taken to a hospital as a precaution. However, officials say there were no readings of carbon monoxide in the building. The need for blood donations is on the rise, but local blood banks are seeing the number of donors shrink, and they're saying it's because of the weather. Medical experts say frigid temperatures and the holidays can cause at least a 40% decrease in the number of blood donors. Now they're rallying the community to come out and help save some lives. United Blood Services is open 7 days a week, and appointments can be scheduled online. A handful of new laws are set to take effect in Minnesota with the start of 2018. While some will help raise money for good causes, others will impact when you vote during local special elections. Reporter Heidi Wigdahl explains.
A new year means new laws are now in effect. In Minnesota, there's now an option for drivers to honor fallen officers with special license plates. On the health side, insurance companies that cover prescription eye drops will need to cover refills before the expiration. And another new law allows home care providers to include age-related hearing loss training in their orientation. The state also created 5 uniform dates for local special elections. They can now only be held on the second Tuesday in February, April, May, and August, or the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November.
It does make it a little bit easier for people to keep track of things, because one of the big problems with local elections is a lot of people don't know when they are. And so if you start having them the same time every couple years, that makes it easier.
Andy Aoki, political science professor at Augsburg University, says looking further into 2018, a big topic will once again be Real ID.
I believe they're not going to be rolling those out until October. And of course, the state had a number of problems this past year just with regular licenses. So if they run into problems there, who knows what could happen.
And as far as passing new laws, Aoki says it will be interesting to see what happens after the Minnesota Supreme Court upheld Governor Dayton's line-item veto of the legislature's budget.
It's hard to remember a legislative session that started with such bitter feelings. So I think the biggest question is how much they're going to be able to work together, because they're going to have to work together to get much done.
One of the new laws in North Dakota is the presumptive probation law for Class C felony and Class A misdemeanor offenses. The law makes exceptions for certain crimes, such as domestic violence offenses, and allows a court to impose a prison sentence if there are aggravating factors. Governor Doug Burgum entered office in December of 2016, and he had a full plate on day one, from dealing with the end of the pipeline protest to cleaning up the state budget to a myriad of other problems. Lawmakers say Burgum is doing rather well.
Always refreshing when someone can bring results-oriented projects to government. And he's certainly kept his door open for both Republicans and Democrats alike to come in and share their insight. Something I certainly appreciated and look forward to continuing that working relationship into the new year.
Burgum will deliver his State of the State address on January 23rd. It's the first day of the new year, which in Southern California means one thing for many people: the annual Rose Parade. And one North Dakota family had the privilege of riding on a float in this morning's Tournament of Roses parade in Pasadena, California. Ashley Gulke and her family are from Mohall, North Dakota. They donated the revenue from 5 acres of soybeans to the Lansford Fire Department. That yield came out to more than $2,300. They earned a spot on an agriculture float and a 2018 pickup truck for a year. Later on Valley News Live at 6, the Vikings making the playoffs. That's a good thing. What's not so great is the timetable to prep U.S. Bank Stadium for the Super Bowl. But first, an Uber scam you'll want to watch out for, because it'll cost you some money.